Hello and welcome, friends. On winter holidays of 2015, I lived in a townhouse about 10 minutes from college. I'm a female who lived with 4 other girls I met during my first 2 years in the students' campus residences. All of them came home for a break, so I was at home alone and got an internship. I had to stay in town, and it was good for me. I enjoyed peace and quiet. Besides, the trips home were very expensive during that time of the first year. It was good for 2 weeks. I actually did a lot of work, but then things started to get weird. At the beginning of the previous semester, I first moved to a place in a country house. We met a man at the same place, almost as old as us. I assumed he went to the same college, but looking back, I never asked him. He looked a little old, so I assumed he was acting in front of me in a scary and confusing way. He was trying to spark conversations with me as we walked outside to our cars. A month after the semester, he approached me very nervous and asked for my phone number. I didn't actually want to give my number to the men who asked for it, so I chose to give it my Snapchat username. Instead, he happily agreed and I went my way. After a few days, I actually started blood on this decision. Zhao. First of all, its result on Snapchat was 0, which means that it created the account for the sole purpose of adding me. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because he was new to the app, but some of the things he was sending me were completely unjustifiably scary. Like it sends a picture of my bedroom at night or a picture of the campus. I stared, wondering if I was in class and in whatever building, and after some time, we were on winter holidays, and he was still sending shots like this. What terrified me the most was that he knew the fact that I was home alone, because he kept sending pictures of the car parked in front of the house. One night I was sleeping in my bed and woke up to the sound of Snapchat notification. I saw that the notice from him opened it, and it was just a black screen. I was a bit upset, and I went to the chat to tell him not to send me pictures too late at night. When I started writing, I heard a fuss, and when I sent the message, I heard another fuss that was close to me. Having read the letter, he regrets and said, "I didn't mean to wake you up. I was still thinking about the buzzing sounds I heard a little while ago, and then I got his message asking where I was." He started writing for a minute, and then he stopped writing and left the chat. My heart started to accelerate, and I didn't know what to do. I wasn't sure if that was a good idea. At that time, I contacted him via Snapchat video. I immediately rang a toner from under my bed and got out of my room towards the front door. I ran to the nearest gas station where I gasped my breath and told what had just happened to the cashier on duty. "Call the cops for me." It took 5 minutes to get there. All this time I was getting spam through Snapchat messages. They started begging me not to call the police, but they got more aggressive than they threatened to kill me. I showed all the messages to the cops, and they started searching the house, and a few minutes later, they found him hiding in one of my roommate's cupboards. They handcuffed him and took him out to the back seat of their patrol car. He was covered. I was sweating, and I threw several looks at him and texted my roommates that night. They agreed to cancel the lease early in the month as we all moved to a house 25 minutes away. I don't know what happened at the end to the man I never knew and have since stopped using Snapchat. This happened when I was chatting to my girlfriend. I was a freshman at high school, and my best friend Anna was exchanging letters back and forth. One night, while I was studying for a test the next day, our conversation had begun to send me a photo of herself in her room without comment. I answered it out loud about the test we're going to take tomorrow, saying I'm not ready for it. I asked her what she was doing, and she sent me a picture from a different angle. This time she shows homework in front of her, and her explanatory name says yes. I analyzed the photo a little longer, trying to figure out which chapter the homework was reserved for, as I did. So I noticed something strange in the back that looked like a mysterious figure standing in the corner of the room. She soon sent her a message if there was anyone else in the room, and she replied that she was alone in the house. I felt really scared at this stage, but I didn't want to alert her, so I sent her another message saying that I should focus and go to study for testing immediately. I opened it immediately, but minutes passed and it did not respond, which was uncharacteristic. Pretty much I started to worry that something was dangerous, and I started to regret not taking a screenshot of the photos so I could take a second look and prove that I was thinking about it a lot. I contacted her, but she did not answer, sent a letter and a few more conversations, but I still did not receive a reply. So I decided to go home and check on her. She lived only 3 minutes from my house. When I got there, I saw that most of the lights of the house were on. I called her back, but she still didn't respond. I was about to give up and go home. When I noticed that her bedroom window was a little open, she grabbed a screwdriver and found it lying on the floor. She went up to the roof where her bedroom was. When I got to the window, I saw the mysterious shape standing back in the corner, not far from her bed. I knew I had to act fast, so I broke into the room and dealt with what an older man was like. He was a lot older than me, but I managed to hit him with a screwdriver in his left shoulder before he could beat me. He screamed in pain before escaping again from the window and went down to the grass at the bottom. He grabbed his left shoulder as he ran, and I looked around the room and realized that Anna wasn't there. I screamed at her and got a response from the kitchen downstairs. She explained everything to me, and we used her phone to call the police, who found the trail of blood that was showing up to the street. She then disappeared completely, indicating that the man had got into the car. She said, "Anna, how?" After I told her I was studying, I put her phone aside and went downstairs to make some food, which explained why I didn't answer my calls. But I wondered frankly what would have happened if I hadn't noticed the man on her Snapchat account. A few nights ago, I was having trouble sleeping and getting very bored, so I downloaded the Snapchat app to spend some time as I browsed through people's stories and noticed that someone had added me now. If I've used Snapchat before, I probably already know about having a big problem with robots 9 times out of 10. When someone adds me, it's just someone trying to trick me into sending money somehow. I have no idea how to find my account, but somehow the account did not have any offer, which made me doubt right away. I added him back as a friend and checked his sudden result was low, which means it was definitely a bond account, where I waited until he sent me a message, and I started wondering what would happen if I contacted him via video. Would it just be a random call center? Will it be a black screen? Or maybe a pre-recorded video? I was curious, and so I called him. To my surprise, he answered immediately. My face appeared at the bottom of the screen, but on the other end there was just someone's thumb pressing on the camera. I could say that because it had a slight red color for a few seconds before it turned completely black. I started saying things like, "Hello, can you hear me? Show me your face," and stuff like that. He was silent for a few seconds, and suddenly I heard a scream from the call that seemed desperate. It was one of the most painful screams that scared me, so I finished the call. Chew. After seconds, the account sent my entire address and a photo of my own on the map. I immediately regretted sharing my location on it and felt that my stomach fluctuated into a necklace. I grabbed the baseball bat nearby and put it on my side, and then moved to Netflix to see anything he could forget about what had just happened. I thought every time I heard a car pass, he was the person I talked to on Snapchat. I look out of the window and keep this going for at least half an hour. When one car stopped in front of the house, the Toyota was black. At that time, I received a notice from Snapchat from the account that terrified me earlier. It was purple, meaning it was a video I didn't want to open, and instead I canceled the account. Before I could look back outside the car, and suddenly I heard fucking with the front door lock. A few seconds later, I could hear the doors open, followed by steps entering the house. I should have mentioned this, but I live alone. No one but me has a spare key. Anyone who was in my house was someone I don't really know. I closed my bedroom door and pushed my office in front of him, as quietly as I could, and called the police, asking me to stay on the line with them until they arrived. I could hear the voice of the person walking outside my room, and it was a few seconds until I heard footsteps straight towards my door, and I heard again the lock manipulation. My heart was in my stomach, and I thought of screaming threats, but the operator ordered me to stay calm.
Suddenly, he could unblock the lock and push the door, but the office stopped him moving. Finally, I heard sirens from a distance and heard with her the steps of someone running outside the house. I looked out of the window and saw a masked person get inside a black Toyota and run away. When the police turned up, I unblocked my door to get out and talk to them. So they asked me some questions. I answered as best as I could. He asked me about Snapchat's account, and I went in to add it again. The video was still there, so we opened it, and a video taken from inside his car showed the front door of my house. The police thought it was an attempted abduction, where the person using the account adds random people in the hope of being on their location on the quick map. I don't know if this is always the case, but this was the first time I heard of accounts doing things like this. That made me seriously rethink all the Bond accounts that I would add back to this app. I stopped the location of the map and deleted the app from my phone map, and fortunately the police arrived quickly.